Meredith, did you ever tell him that his son was dead?
I never did. He's a joke, Steve. He's a freaking joke. He hasn't seen his kid in 5 years, and that's because of his own doing, not my own. He came, we were together for 2 years before I had my son. We were in love. It was love at first sight. I mean, everything was great. And I got pregnant. I ended up in the hospital. I had something at work, and he ended up in a motorcycle accident. Ever since then, it was different. I was about 6.5 months pregnant, and he, oh, I'm going to go to North Carolina, my family. I'm going to set everything up. I'm going to come get you. I'm going to come back and get you. I waited, and I waited, and waited. And the first time he saw his son, he was 2.5 years old, and that was on my dime.
And since then, how many times has he seen his son?
Well, my son's going to be 5 this summer, so I'm going to say a total of maybe a week period altogether in 5 years.
And your son, is he wondering how come Dad's not around?
My son's a very smart little boy. He picks up with, because now he's at that age where he sees his friends, has kids, fathers, and their fathers play with them, and it's always, Mommy, where's Daddy? How come Daddy's not at my birthday parties? How come Daddy, doesn't call me? Why doesn't he return my phone call, And what do you say to a little kid? Like, what do you say to him? And I don't talk bad about, to my son about his father.
So I got to go back to this story where Brian says that you called him up and said your son is dead.
Oh, I can't wait.
He just made that up.
That part he made up. I'm going to tell you what happened. Like I said, the first time he saw his son was 2.5. 6 months after that, he called me up saying, I'm so sorry. I love you. I just want a family. I want my son to grow up. Okay. He showed up at my house from North Carolina with 3 suitcases. And okay, we were gonna, try. Now I had a little anger, because resentment. You abandoned me, you left me to take care of everything on my own. So he was outside smoking a cigarette, and I was doing something with my son on the bed, and his cell phone went off. Now I'm nosy, and I looked at it, and there was another female, and it says, I love you, and I miss you. I know I'm not supposed to contact you, but I couldn't help myself. So, being the person that I am, I want to know what's going on. So I went outside and confronted him. He didn't say a word to me. He came in the house, grabbed his suitcase, grabbed his bag, and out the door. My son was 3 at the time and chased after him down this, Daddy, where are you going? Why are you leaving? So I'm running after him with the stroller to try to put my kid in, and I'm screaming at him. I'm like, he's like, that's it, I'm done, da-da-da. And I'm like, what do you mean you're done? Like, I thought you were coming back, we were gonna fix this, we were gonna work this out. So I called him up, and now at this point I'm intoxicated because it was like a period of, I don't know, maybe an hour or so. So I said to him, is no longer. And I hung up the phone. And that was it. Next thing you know, my girlfriend comes over to go.
Well, what is somebody supposed to read into that?
Well, I don't remember the rest of the, but like I said, I didn't say, oh, he's dead. You know what I mean?
He's no longer?
No, I mean the last name. Well, I was drunk, Steve. I don't
but I mean, that's pretty terrible to let somebody believe
Steve,
that their
honestly,
child is dead.
I didn't lead him to believe. I honestly didn't. What I'm saying is I would never collectively, soberly, ever.
But you did.
Yes, I did. But you know what?
I mean,
I'm not,
soberly,
right,
yeah, a lot of us want to do a lot of things.
But Steve, I'm not going to make excuses for it. I'm not going to make excuses for it. I'm not.
Okay. Did you ever love Brian?
I love Brian from the moment I saw him.
Do you still love him?
I love him. Yes, I do. But I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm not going to tolerate the cheating. I'm not going to tolerate the lying. I'm not. I'm sick of it.
Now, I know that this guy probably broke your heart. He's not acting the way you want. But aren't you kind of like using your son to hurt him?
No. You know why? Because
the thing, what I get to is I get back to the story of you see the woman's calling on the cell phone.
But this is after the fact, Steve.
Hold on. Can I finish?
Sorry.
You see it, you get mad, you confront them. You haven't been together. Couldn't you just let that slide and see how things
Well, you know what? I
out?
could have, but it turned out right after he left, he was with somebody the whole time he came up, wanted his family.
Yeah, but you didn't know that was going to happen.
No, I didn't. I didn't know. But you know what? It's just how he is.
So, do you want Brian back?
I want him to be a father to our son. My thing is that either you're going to do what you need to do. I know you live far away, but hello, phone.
Okay. But if Brian came on here and said, you know what? I'm sorry. Meredith, I love you. I'm going to be the best guy in the world to you. You'd be pretty happy with that, right?
It'd be a validation, to my self-esteem, but, like I said, my son is my world,
Sure he is.
He really
of course
is. And
And that I don't doubt one bit. My thing is, I think this is not about your son. I think this is, you've been hurt by Brian, And you still have feelings
How
for
can
Brian.
that be? How can that be?
We did give you a lie detector pre-test interview.
He asked me some questions, you know. But I wasn't hooked up to a lie detector test.
Okay.
That's the truth.
In your interview, you were very emotional and dramatic,
Yes.
and you cried throughout the whole interview process.
Oh, I'm very emotional.
You know, and we asked you about the whole Tom Brian, did he die in a car accident?
I don't remember
About your
much
son.
of that. I really don't.
You confessed to being drunk and not remembering what
Yes.
you may have said, and can't deny saying it.
I can't.
Yeah, you can't.
So,
Are you coaching on what to say to Brian on the phone?
no.
You confessed to times to ask Dad questions that he asked her, and then we asked you, are you using your son to try to get Brian back?
No.
You confessed to wanting them to be a family and have Brian have contact with his dad.
I want, you know, them to have a relationship instead of this chaoticness.
Do you want to be in a relationship with Brian? You confess that you still love him.
I love him, yes.
And it hurts, and you want them
Of course it hurts.
And you want them together as a family.
I want him to have his father. You know?
Do you have any idea at all why Brian broke up with you?
He cheated on me while I was pregnant with a mutual friend.
With a mutual friend?
With a mutual friend.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's find out what Brian has to say.
Okie dokie.
All right. First of all.
I'm using my son.
Let me talk. You
Yeah,
had your
okay,
chance
sure,
to talk.
go ahead.
Let me talk. Okay.
But I'm not gonna let you tell me
You're
that.
using my son as a pawn against me.
Really?
Yes, you are.
Really? How am I
yes,
doing
you
that?
are. I got
How
a
am I
phone call
doing that?
from you. How
Excuse
do I
me?
believe anything that you ever say to me, ever, after you told me my son was dead?
First of all, I was completely drunk.
How do I
after
believe
you
anything
stepped
you
out
say?
for the second time.
How do I believe
the
anything
second
you
time.
say?
What about the girls
How do I
calling?
believe
Oh,
anything
I want
you
to be
say?
with you and all this other crap. You're a liar. You
Steve,
lie.
Would you want to deal with that for 2 years?
Well, then you shouldn't do what you need to do, and then you wouldn't have to deal with it.
Okay? I don't even have a chance to get a word in edgewise.
Again, I can't get past the fact, being drunk does not excuse
No,
the
I'm
fact.
not saying it's an
because
excuse,
listen,
but I don't know.
Hold on, listen.
I was intoxicated. That's all I know.
I know.
Why would I get another phone call the next day saying that, how does it feel to have your heart stomped,
I did not
pulled
call
out
you.
your chest and stomped on?
Whoa,
Nothing.
The last time
You
I
said
had a
it.
conversation with you was after the police were at my freaking house and asked you, what's the
How
deal?
does it feel to have your
I
heart
never
ripped
said
out
that
your
to you.
chest and stepped on?
I never said that
You're
to you.
a liar.
I'm a liar?
Yes.
Then you're a freaking liar, too.
Okay. So why don't
You're a cheater, a manipulator. Let's keep it real.
That's cool. You're manipulating the
that's cool.
situation because you can't have me.
So Brian,
Why haven't you been in your
Because
son's
you
life?
can't have me. I
Why
can't
haven't
have
you been
I
in
can't
your
have a
son's
relationship
life?
because you won't let me.
Me?
You
What is
will
your
not
son's
let me.
favorite color? What does he like to
You
do?
won't let
you
me.
know not. I
Why
won't
don't you let him talk to me and maybe he can tell me that
Really?
stuff?
He don't know you.
Let him know me.
How?
Let him come to me.
Come to you?
Yes.
You want him to come to you?
Let him come to me.
can you relate to this story? Need my help? Call 1-888-STEVE-07. Does it bother you that you haven't seen your son in 2 years?
Yes, very much so. It
How
hurts me
often
so
do you
bad.
try to call to talk to your son?
I try to call, but when I call and I feel like he's being
How
coached.
often you try? See, you got a little bit of her problem now. Just answer the question.
Okay.
How often do you try to call?
Not as often as I should.
Okay, there you go. So you're not calling as much as you should.
No.
Okay.
What about when your son calls you and you don't answer or return his phone call? After I bought that kid 2 prepaid cell phones, so you didn't have to have contact with me. And then I got to hear, Daddy, why aren't you picking up the phone? Daddy, why don't you love me? Daddy, why don't you see me?
Okay. Is that true?
When he asked me, why don't you love me? To me, that is something that is put into a child's head.
Right.
Okay?
'Cause you love your
Why
son.
you don't see me?
Do you love your son?
Yes, I love my son very much.
Okay. Did you walk away from your son while he was crying?
No, I walked away from his mother.
But he was there.
And
chased
what
after
she
you.
didn't tell you is, halfway in that walk, I stopped. I got on one knee and looked him in his face and told him,
That was
I love
20
you.
minutes after I got to the train
told him
station
I
that you were
love
there.
I
No,
am
you
not
didn't.
leaving
Don't lie
you.
to
I am
me.
leaving your mother.
Do you pay her child support?
Yes.
You know, 5 years, no
No
birthdays,
birthday
no
gift,
Christmas.
no Christmas,
Months
no
and
card, no
months.
nothing. But
You
I
have-
I'm
called
sick of
him.
it.
Wait a second.
And
Hold on.
I called,
Hold on.
and you hung
Hold
up
on.
on me on
Hold on.
Christmas
So
Day.
what?
Christmas Day, you hung up on me when I asked you to speak to
you
my
don't
son.
deserve that beautiful little boy back there.
That is
You
not
don't
your
deserve
call.
him.
That's his
Be
call.
in
That
his
is
life.
not yours.
Be in
That
his
is not
life.
your call.
I
Will
have
you be quiet for a second?
That is not your call.
Brian,
You are not God.
Brian, you haven't bought your son a birthday present, a Christmas present?
At the time, Steve, I did not have a job. I was on
When's
unemployment.
the last time you bought?
And when I
when's
went,
the last time you bought him a present?
The last time I bought him a present,
Right.
was when I went to her.
How long
and
ago
told
was
her
that? How long ago was that?
About 2 years ago.
Okay.
And this was
so
right
the last
after.
2 years, you not scraped up a few bucks to buy your son a present?
No, I could have, but at the same time, in essence, I don't trust the fact that she's going to say it's from me.
Okay.
I have to mail it.
But listen, you're both putting the little boy in the middle. Both of you are doing it. You're both here today, right? You're both on the show. You have a son together. You know he's here. He's in our green room.
I would love to see him.
Oh, right, right.
I would love to see him.
And
Look at him. He looks just like me.
I know. And you know what?
Yeah, if you asked for a DNA test, remember?
Oh, God.
You wanted a DNA test, remember?
Okay. And how do I get you to go from this stage to back there and both of you acting like adults and not childish children fighting so your son could see you? How's that going to happen?
Me, Steve. Every time I talk to this man, it's I gotta go. I can't talk to you. He doesn't. He won't do it.
You're both here, so I do believe in your heart you want Brian to be part of your son's life. You want to be part of your son's life. Now, for the next minute, and we're just going to chat here for 1 minute, and if you can be civil, we're going to go back and see your son. If not, I'm going to tell you, go to court and get it resolved, because I tried my best and I can't do it. All right?
But I don't badmouth him to him. I don't do that. I don't badmouth. I don't do that.
I know.
That's part of the reason. I mean, that's part of the reason why.
Everybody slow down. That minute's almost up.
You're not perfect.
I never said that I was perfect.
You know,
and I don't want to be
hang
perfect.
me out
And
to
be
dry,
honest with you,
Brian.
Meredith,
You want to hang me out to dry, but you know, be real.
You know
about
what? Let me talk to you.
You know
Please
what?
let me talk.
Okay.
I just want you to be real.
No. This story here, this story, it's over. The story's over. I gave you every chance. I gave you every chance. I'm not doing it.
I would like to say something to
No, I'm done. You want to see your son? You really got that fight in you? Go to court, get a lawyer. I'm not going to take two people that can't be civil to each other for 1 minute and scare a little boy. I will not be party to it.
I wouldn't do that in front of my kids.
You said, you know what?
It has nothing to do with him.
I would never do that in front of my kids.
You guys keep saying that, but you are adults and you cannot control yourselves on my stage. I am not going to be part of it. You leave here, you can call him up and tell you where you're going to be, and if you want to do that, meet up, fine. But not in my studio, not on my dime.